What's up guys, DuArktik with another Marvel Strike Force video, and in this video we are back to talk about the Nova Trials, Scourges, whatever you want to call it. Let's try to call it Trials. So we're gonna take a look at the Nova Trials and see how you can get a perfect score with all the Scourges active, right? This is going to be on difficulty 8, but I think this is gonna be the best option to help the people that are doing the Scourges between difficulty 5 and difficulty 8. And we're gonna activate all the Scourges. I'm gonna tell you which ones you should skip in case you are having some problems. And hopefully this will allow you to unlock Nova and also get the additional rewards. Nova is a very interesting character, usable in Cosmic Crucible, Alliance Wars and Dark Dimension. I guess those are the 3 game modes where it's the most important. But on top of that, you also need Nova in order to unlock the new legendary Black Cat that is going to dominate Arena. So if you are interested in also dominating Arena, you need to have a big Nova in order to have a big Black Cat. So we're gonna break down all the information that you need to know, which are the best characters in order for you to use in each of the nodes. And as always, if you like the information on these videos, make sure you share it with your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe for more Marvel Strike Force content, and make sure you smash that like button like a boss, like Nova. I guess Nova is a boss as well. Anyway, so we're gonna do this on difficulty 8. Like I said, all the Scourges active. But if you want to know which Scourges you should remove in case you are having some problems, there are a few that you should consider. So the first off that you should consider removing is Warp World. This one will flip your negative effects into positive effects and your positive effects into negative effects, depending if an enemy or yourself drop below 50% health. If you have your characters maxed out, this one is easy, but if it's not the case, or if you are a new player or a returning player, then this one might cause you some problems. Then the other one that causes some problems as well is Power Dynamics, because on turn you are going to lose all your positive effects and you are going to recover a little bit of health, but it's not significant enough, the effect. And then the other that you should consider, it's this one right here, Snake Eyes. It might not seem like much, but this is going to give the enemy gambits cause a lot of problems for everyone. This one is going to increase their damage, the retaliation attack that they do. They're going to have additional critical hit damage, and that means every time they attack you, they are going to do a lot more damage. Okay, so I hope people understand the difference between critical hit chance and critical hit damage. Critical hit chance is the chance of you doing a critical hit, and critical hit damage is the more damage that the critical hit is going to do. Characters like Gambit that already have very high crit chance, they benefit more of having crit damage, and that's why this Snake Eyes Scourge or Trial is so important. So, like I said, you should deactivate Warp World, Power Dynamics and Snake Eyes if you are having problems with what we are going to do today. Okay, so let's take a look at the gameplay. Let's take a look at which characters I used in order to destroy the Nova Trials. There are some important characters that you should take into consideration, so let's take a look into it. Okay, here we go. Let's start the Nova Trials on difficulty 8 with all the Scourges activated. We have some global nodes, we have some city nodes, we have some cosmic nodes, and of course we have the special nodes with Masters of Evil and X-Force, X-Factor and Quicksilver. Okay, so on the first node you can use pretty much any team. I'm gonna use my Horseman characters, but if you don't have full Horseman team available and Apocalypse and so on, just make sure you use your Red Hulk, because if you have the Red Hulk charged up early on, that's going to be a lot better. You can use Dead Seed here, you can use Wakanda here, you can use pretty much anything. Just make sure that it's not something that you're going to use later on. So avoid using global bio characters, avoid using city hero characters, and avoid using cosmic characters. Beyond that, you can pretty much use anything. I use Horseman because, I mean, it's more fun and it saves a little bit of time. Okay, so that was node number 1. Let's move on to the next node, where we have to use Masters of Evil, Quicksilver, and X Factor. Okay, so this node is it's interesting. So you have the opportunity of using Ultron. I would say to don't use Ultron. You kind of want Ultron for the Gambit nodes and for the last node. So keep that in mind. You should not use Ultron here at all. And you need to focus on removing the positive effects from the echoes. You want to remove those offense subs, and you want to destroy as fast as possible that Kate Bishop, so she stops applying blind to your team, as it can be quite problematic. You should use the basic of Quicksilver and of Absorbing Man as often as you find necessary, because they remove positive effects from the enemy. So if you see that these echoes still have offense up or anything like that, just destroy them or remove the positive effects, and that's it. Now we have Kestrel, we have a Black Bolt. You should focus on stunning Black Bolt and destroying Kestrel. Kestrel is really important that you just get rid of her. And this is why we don't want to bring Ultron, right? We have two characters that counter Ultron. Other character that you should pay a little bit into consideration is Coulson. Coulson, he does that big ultimate, and because of that, he's going to summon Kestrel and Black Bolt to attack your character. So make sure you ability block Coulson if you cannot kill him right away. Okay, as long as these crystals are stunned, you don't have too much to worry about it. Or as long as Black Bolt is stunned, you don't have too much to worry about the crystals. And then you can slowly ship them away. You can focus on Black Bolt first. The crystals, they are a little bit annoying at the beginning with their special abilities, but it's not a big deal. So as you can see, because of the power dynamics and because of the warp world, the positive effects from our team are being removed all the time. And you can see that it's even bugging out the buffs from Titania. Okay, we have another Castle, we have another Nick Fury, we have another Coulson. Don't bother too much with Nick Fury, just remove his speed up and you are good to go. Then, as I mentioned before, you want to focus on Kestrel, Coulson, and then clean up whatever is left. Okay, so now you're going to take a look at node number 3, I think. And we have to use City Heroes. If you want to beat this node as easy as possible, this is absolutely the easiest way of beating this node. You want to use Miss Marvel, Squirrel Girl, Gwenpool, Dagger, and Cloak. Like this, it's gonna be super easy. You guys are gonna take a look. It's incredible how easy it is. Of course, you can beat it in other ways, like sacking the node, but I don't recommend that because you might require some city characters you use later on. But yeah, this is absolutely the easiest way, and the reason why, it's because whenever a hero or a city hero or something, whenever a hero drops below 50% health, Miss Marvel is going to taunt. And then a Squirrel Girl is going to get speed bar, and that means that Squirrel Girl is going to heal up, right? So you can see that because of power dynamics, my buffs were half flipped, but because of Miss Marvel and Squirrel Girl, we were able to clear all of that away, and now we are ready to destroy the enemies. You can attack whichever character you want with your Gwenpool because you have your Cosmic Crucible buffs active. And then Cloak, if you have your Cloak as a striker, which I strongly recommend, whenever Cloak and Dagger kill someone, they are going to get a lot of energy. So you can literally spam ultimates. That's going to be something very important. The isolate of the characters, Gwenpool Skirmisher or Raider, and Cloak and Dagger both strikers, so you can see the amount of energy that we can get from these characters. Okay, you want to make sure that you destroy the Nakias, the Bashengas, the Black Panther. Okoi is not a big deal, but then you really have to destroy this Hulkbuster as fast as possible. Make sure you use the basic and the special of Cloak as often as you can in order to keep turn rewinding that Hulkbuster. Otherwise, it's going to apply slow to your team, and that can cause you a lot of problems. Easy mode, right? I think so. Okay, so now you're going to beat the node number 4, where you need bio global characters. Now, there are many ways you can do this node. I decided to make it with Gamma and with Rebirth. It's going to be very important that you have the right ISO weights to complete this scourge. So it's going to be extremely important that you have your Red Hulk as a striker. Even if it's striker level 3, it doesn't matter. Some people like to use Raider, I like to use Skirmisher, but for this Scourge, it's going to be extremely important that you have your Red Hulk as a striker, so keep that in mind. Then Braun, you can also have him as a striker, it doesn't really matter too much. And Abomination, use whatever you want. I only have Captain America as a skirmisher, and that's more than enough. I use Captain Carter as a healer, but if you want, you could use Captain America and Captain Carter as raiders, because that's something that is very popular in Cosmic Crucible. So, once again, very important, Red Hulk striker, and everyone else doesn't matter, but I would recommend Skirmisher or Raider on the two Rebirth characters. I decided to use this team because these are the characters that you use for raids, right? You use these characters for raids and use these characters to unlock Apocalypse. So I thought it was going to be important to deal with that. Okay, so the strategy is fairly simple. You have to destroy Emma Frost as fast as possible, and then you have to destroy Deadpool as fast as possible. And you might have to reset the node a few times just to make sure that your Red Hulk is not ability blocked, because if he is ability blocked, that's going to cause you a lot of problems. Remember that on the basic of Captain Carter, she always calls the Captain America for assist, so that might allow you to apply some extra vulnerabilities or to attack one of the important targets. Other character that you should take into consideration is the Miss Marvel. The faster you remove her, the better. And then you want to stun or ability block the Anti-Venom, because it's going to clear the negative effects away. And as soon as you can, you just want to destroy those Titanias. You want to get rid of these Titanias before the last wave of enemies shows up. Otherwise, they are going to start applying slow to your team over and over again, and you don't want that. Finally, on this last wave, you have to pay attention to Longshot. Longshot is the blonde guy dressed in black. You have to delete him as fast as possible, because he's going to give barrier and crit chance and speed bar to the entire enemy team, and it's not great. You just want to remove them as fast as possible. Shatterstar is not as much of a big deal compared to Longshot, so you can pretty much ignore him. And once again, focus on these Titanias. Moonstone and Absorbing Man, you don't really have to focus too much on them, as they're not super relevant, and you can manipulate their abilities in order to know exactly what they're going to do. Okay, that's it. That's the first Bio-Global node with the Rebirth and with Gamma. Okay, so now you're going to take a look at the first Cosmic node, and for this node you should use Eternals, Val, and Kang. I used Thanos. You don't really have to use Thanos, and the reason why is because if your characters are strikers, Icarus and Kang, then they're going to get energy anyway, so you don't have to worry about the energy of Icarus. If you are getting some killing blows with him, you should be able to get energy fine. So instead of Thanos, you can use like Deadpool or Kestrel for more damage output, and also for Dane survivability and so on. Okay, but yeah, this is the team I'm going to use: Val, Eternals, and Kang. Once again, the fifth character, which I use a Thanos, you can replace with pretty much anyone. And the best thing you can do is to ship away the Scream. If your team is not as big as mine, you ship the Scream, and then when Icarus does his ultimate, he's going to double tap on all the enemies, right? It's going to be massive, it's going to be amazing, you're going to be doing tons of damage to them. And be careful with these Ghost Spiders, because if you have Power Dynamics and Warp World on your characters, your defense ups are going to be turned into defense downs, and the damage from those Ghost Spiders, those Spider Gwens, it's really gonna hurt you. You want to make sure that you do some damage, you ship away some enemy in the middle, so once again Icarus can double tap with his ultimate, and this will allow him to get more energy from the Striker Eyes Await and the trials that we have active. The same goes for Kang. As long as you are getting kills with these strikers, you don't have to worry about the energy. Just make sure that one of your strikers does not completely cock block the other one, and then you'll be good to go on these Cosmic nodes. Okay, so let's take a look at the second Masters of Evil X-Factor Quicksilver node, and we are going to use Moonstone, we're going to use Titania, we're going to use Kang, we're going to use Quicksilver, and we're going to use Shatterstar. The reason why we have Shatterstar is because whenever one character of our side crits, Shatterstar is going to get barrier, and he also gives defense up to himself, and that will allow him to stay alive for longer, and it will allow for your other characters to destroy the enemies, right? Now, if you don't have a big Shatterstar, if your Shatterstar is not big enough to be relevant, well, then you should use Ultron here. You just want to make sure that your Ultron has less health than Titania, Moonstone, and Quicksilver. And this is because, well, Ultron can revive, and because of that, he can take the damage from the gambits in the face better than the other characters. So keep this in mind. You want to make sure that your Ultron is smaller than all the other characters, otherwise they're gonna hard focus on your Moonstone or your Titania, and then you're gonna struggle. Either way, I still recommend Shatterstar over anything else because of the barrier, because of the defense up that he gives, and he also applies defense down on the enemies if you have the chance of attacking with him. Okay, let's go, let's take a look at these. The isolate attack for these characters don't really matter. As long as they stay alive, you are good to go. You might take Moonstone to fortify her if you feel like she's taking too much damage, but it's not important. Okay, so we can start with the Kang special or with the Kang ultimate. If you have to do the special, make sure you do the special next to the gambits rather than in the middle. And as always, you want to get rid of these gambits as fast as possible. As you can see, Shatterstar, he absorbed all the damage and now you're good to go. You want to make sure that you destroy Emma Frost as fast as possible because she's slowing your characters. Until you get rid of Emma Frost, you are always in a dangerous situation. Okay, so because we have negative effects, all we have to do is to push one enemy character below 50% health, and that's going to flip all those negative effects into positive effects. So always keep this in mind. If you have a lot of negative effects, check out if there is any enemy close to 50% health, and like that you're going to be able to flip those negative effects into positive effects. As always, as often as you can, you should use the Kang ultimate, especially if you are about to get some kills, because that will allow you to get turn rewind on the enemies, defense down, and major damage, and also help your other characters to do more damage to your enemies and clear up these nodes faster. Okay, now we're going to take a look at the second city node, and this one is pretty easy if you have the right characters and if you have the right isolate. You want to take all your new warriors plus Shang-Chi, and you want to make sure that your cloak, your dagger, your Firestar are strikers, because it's going to be important that you apply offense downs to the enemies, but also that you do the isolate attacks as often as you can. You can see that Firestar, she can pretty much destroy anything. You want to make sure that you use her ultimate on Captain Carter, so you can turn rewind Captain Carter as much as you can. Then with Cloak, once again with Striker isolate, you want to make sure that you turn rewind the dangerous character that is on the field. And whenever you get the third wave, you want to try to apply slow to Silver Surfer and to Morgan Le Fay. As soon as you can apply the slow to them, you are much better off because you're going to have the speed advantage, and then you just want to clap them with your isolate attack strikers as hard as you can, and you should focus firstly on Silver Surfer and then on Morgan Le Fay, because Silver Surfer he starts to ramp up the longer you let him go. Okay, now we're going to take a look at the global nodes. Let's see what we're going to do here. Once again, we're going to use Rebirth. We're going to use Gamma. This is because these are the most recommended teams. You could use Titania and Moonstone here in case you didn't have the positive effects on, or if you didn't have enough energy on your team from that Gambit node. And you are pretty much going to clap. Once again, you should change your isolates a little bit if you want to get this as easy as possible. You want to make sure that your Captain America is Skirmisher or Raider, and your Captain Carter also Skirmisher or Raider. Make sure that your Red Hulk is Striker. Okay, so when the second wave drops, you want to use the ultimate of Red Hulk. You don't want to do it before, you want to do it exactly when the Bronze have immunity, so you can flip it into Disrupt, and after they cannot give buffs to the enemies, right? And you want to make sure that you save the stun from Abomination to use on the enemy Red Hulk that is going to show up early on. Okay, you can see there is the Red Hulk enemy. Other thing that you need to take into consideration is that you want to finish off the enemy Hulk, the green guy, as fast as possible, because if you have the green guy and the Red Hulk at the same time, the Red Hulk is going to get immunity with Safeguard, and then you cannot stun him with your Abomination. So very important, kill OG Hulk as fast as possible, apply the ultimate of Red Hulk only when the bronze have immunity, so you can flip it into Disrupt with Trauma, and then make sure you stun Red Hulk and leave him for last, because as soon as you stun him, you are pretty much good to go with how easy it will be to beat him without the other Gamma characters. Okay, we are going to do the second Cosmic Node, and it doesn't really matter who do you bring. Cersei, Icarus, those are fine. You can bring your Kang if he's a striker and if you feel like you're gonna have enough energy for the last node, for node number 10. And that's pretty much it. You don't have to worry about too much. This node is fairly easy. There are a few characters that you should focus on early on, which is Longshot. You also want to make sure that Longshot is gone. You have to pay attention to the Psylocks. You want to make sure that they don't throw negative effects to your face. With the Kang Turn Rewind, you can make sure that the enemy Archangel does not go before your team. And there are several Deadpools and so on. You don't have to worry about them too much. Make sure you finish off the enemy's Dark Beasts before they have the chance of reviving anyone. Remember, that's on the second turn, so you have a little bit extra time in order to do that. If you have Dormammu, you should definitely use Dormammu here for the extra damage. Phyla-Vell is fine too, because she's going to give Drain to characters with that proof. Other characters that you could use here could be Val or Bifrost, or pretty much any city cosmic team that you have available. Okay, we are going to take a look at the last node on this perfect run on the Nova Trials, difficulty 8, all scourges activated. And this is the team I recommend for the last node. You want to use Ultron, you want to use Titania, Kang, Moonstone, and Quicksilver. It's going to be very important that you use Ultron because of his abilities of turn rewinding the enemies with his special and also with the bots that he summons. On the first wave of enemies, you want to play it a little bit slowly. You want to make sure that you have all your bots out before the next wave drops, otherwise you might not be able to turn rewind as much as you need. You also want to make sure that you remove the Psylocks, you want to make sure that you remove the Dazzlers, and also Archangel. Archangel is one of the characters that has to go early on, because if he starts killing your minions, well, there is no returning from that. Okay, second wave drops, you want to focus on Gambit early on with your isolate attacks and so on. Because we have more than 4 Masses of Evil, Kang now is going to apply vulnerability to all the enemies, and this is why Ultron is so important on this node. And that's pretty much it. Kill Gambit, kill Dazzler, then you have to get rid of... what's her name? Rogue. You have to get rid of Rogue before she does her special. You also don't want her to do her ultimate. Make sure that you apply Defense Down, Disrupt to the Darkhold characters so you can finish them off as fast as possible. You're gonna do the Kang ultimate once again, trying to remove as many enemies as you can. And try to use the vulnerabilities with isolate attacks in order to attack characters with death proofs. Okay, then we have the last wave. We're gonna stun that Red Hulk with the Trauma, and then once again we are going to use the Kang special and the Kang ultimate to destroy these enemies. This is the not empowered Apocalypse, so he's gonna start with his special first rather than the ultimate. So because of that, you don't have to stress out too much with his attacks. You still want to avoid to give him speed up, because he can be quite annoying, and then just make sure that he has vulnerabilities and that you use all your attacks from Kang, and then you use the attacks from Ultron to turn rewind the Apocalypse. And that's it. That's how you can do a perfect run with all the scourges active And I hope this helpful. I hope this video will be helpful for players between difficulties 5, 6, and 7, and 8, of course, in order for you to unlock Nova and get this very important legendary character that also allows you to unlock other legendary characters, Black Cat. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to smash that like button, and if you found the video helpful, make sure to share it with your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe for more Marvel Strike Force content, and I will catch you guys later.